how about it? Like, these guys searching around the racetrack. You see Wright and Hayes kind of going up a little bit higher than they've been doing really all race, and just trying to get a little bit more grip as these tires fall off. And I felt like we got that at Vegas a couple weeks ago, at least in the NIS series. And Homestead, I don't know if you saw, Logan, that track might be one of the best on the surface right now. You were on the wall all over the racetrack like you would be in real life. And I think SNR is going in. I know me and you racing there. That's going to be a really fun race to have, because that track is just loads of fun.
Yeah, I absolutely love Homestead, especially whenever it comes to a truck race. For me, it's one of my better tracks on the service. So, you know, Homestead is always going to be a soft spot for me.
Yeah, you know, I'm looking at it now, and these two definitely class of the field like they've been the last couple of weeks, especially at Watkins Glen they were. And behind them, though, Osmer's kind of falling back to Massey, and looks like Samar's kind of just been stuck behind Massey. But nonetheless, these guys having a good time trying to reel each other in. I think Samar might have a chance to get by Massey here as he looks to the inside here for fifth going into turn number 3. And Chris Samar, solid long-run pace as well, although this time's going to get really tight and maybe a little loose on the exit there. The air coming off the 77, can't do it as he gets to the inside of Massey, but just a little bit more pace on him. He's able to stay to the inside, but going to not have the side force to utilize the run. But Massey does get a little tight here off of 4.
Alec, I can happily say we are finally live on the YouTube.
Hey.
About time it came up.
Well, glad to have everybody join in live. And, you know, you've joined a good time long run. Jeff Wright took the lead from pole sitter James Loveland, but how about now? Brody Hayes trying to challenge right for the lead. They make a little contact off of 2 here at the Monster Mile, and now Benson Weaver ahead of them, one of the lap machines of the 1. See how they'll play traffic through there, but good to have everybody watching. Weaver into the wall in front of the leaders, and now Wright goes back to the inside of Hayes.
Jeff Wright had to dodge that out of nowhere. Great control of the 48. These steep bank straightaways are hard to navigate in a situation like that. Jeff Wright putting on a clinic on how to avoid a wreck.
He has, but Jeff Wright has led most of this race, but Brody Hayes has gotten around him. And again, welcome to everybody here watching. Here, the Icon Apparel 150, 45 laps down, and just about getting to pit stops. We might think of how you want to do a strategy for this race. And again, a quick recap for everybody. James Loveland took the lead, got passed by Jeff Wright on lap 5. Hasn't looked back until just now, where Brody Hayes has gotten by. Keith Maiato lost a couple spots, but he seems to be regaining them here. But other than that, haven't missed too much. And maybe other than Cody Atkins blowing an engine, and there's something to add. There's Ronnie Osmer, gets the wall off of 4, and here comes Samar and Maiato.
Yeah, Maiato finally making a charge back up through the field. We saw him fall all the way back to the 9th or 10th position there for a while. Now all over the back bumper, the 20 for the 5th spot. Ronnie Osmer goes high through turn 3 and 4. Maiato's going to get the low line where he needs to be. He'll complete that pass. Ray Massey might take a look to the inside here through 1. He does. Ronnie Osmer all the way up on the wall again. Maybe some contact there with the wall, but Ray Massey gets by with ease.
They're doing a really good job here. And Maiato, man, really good pace. Look at that, 2:10. Oh, here comes Osmer pitting right about where we expected here to cut this race into thirds. Weaver gets loose off of 4, and here they come into 1. There's a great camera angle here into turn 1. You can see Maiato still following behind his teammate Chris Samard. And I'll tell you what, though, Maiato has some really good pace, and Brody Hayes, incredible pace. Now 0.6 of a second ahead of Jeff Wright. Did a really good job taking care of his stuff, and he is rolling away from the 40. Not something we've really said a lot this year, but look at the speed. The 37 has a lot faster in the long run than Jeff Wright right now.
Yeah, that 37 putting together some momentum at the right time of the season. Only 4 more races till the championship has been decided. It all starts right here tonight.
Oh, Jeff's going to the pit barrels. He gets into him. That's a big mistake for our championship leader.
And that's a black flag, too. Not only does he have the damage, but he got the speeding penalty on pit road.
He did, and maybe the first massive mistake that Jeff Wright has made all season, and that might really cost him, and it might cost him a good finish because he's got heavy damage to the front end of the 48 machine as now Brody Hayes comes to counteract that, but it might not matter as Jeff Wright missed his pit box as well.
More carnage.
And now teammate Chris Samard wreck on pit road, and the pole sitter's car destroyed.
Samard
got into him. And Keith Biotto doing an amazing job to get by him. And I might need to point out, Jeff Wright missed his pit box as well to serve his penalty and get his stop done. And now Loveland with heavy damage. Brody Hayes getting service to his 737 Chevrolet Camaro, and he will exit out of pit lane. There's Max Cost, who's falling a lap down, and a bunch of accidents and incidents happening in pit road, and now Dennis Faircloth hoping for maybe one more to bring out a caution as he stays out on the racetrack. Jake Mackey and Chase Abel are still on the racetrack as Faircloth hide wide and Handsome Abel now down pit road. So Mackey and Faircloth continue to stay clicking off laps, and Hayes gets away, and Jeff Wright still 2 laps down getting service to his race car, but having to serve his penalty as well. So he's going to fall, 4 or 5 laps down here during this cycle.
That's not a great time for that type of mistake. Now only 2 cars on the lead lap. Faircloth Mackey looking like they're going to go for that one-stop strategy right in the middle of this race. We'll likely see the 80 and the 13 come down right around that lap 75 area and split this in half.
Mackey's coming in, so it's only Faircloth left alone on this island, and well, Faircloth gets a caution. Everybody's a lap down, so that'll be nice for him.
Will be a best-case scenario for the 80, but he's got a long ways to go.
Can he go 20 more laps, though? And that's just going to be interesting to see if he can stay out another 20 more laps because, well, nobody else is on the strategy here, so not the worst thing. I know Hayes probably going to lap himself here soon, but I don't know. It's tough to go 75 laps on tires here. We'll see as Faircloth continues to stay on the racetrack, but 20 laps is going to be a long way. But remember, he won't have to pit again, and best case scenario for him will be that he needs this race to run green, as Osmer has ran down Hayes, but it's kind of a false narrative because he is, he pitted 3 laps later, which is a lot here. As Jeremiah Vincent trying to work around him. Jeff Wright still in pit road, still getting damage fixed, and honestly, I think his race is done. He might have a bent upper control arm on that right front tire, and he might be out of this race. So now it's Keith Mayato's chance. Can he get the win? Can he at least finish second? And he will gain a boatload of points going into the biggest wild card of the season next weekend at Atlanta.
That'd be a big bump. Jeff Wright not going to have the points day that he needs. That 59-point lead is going to diminish, especially if one of these top 5 drivers in the point standings can make it all the way to the end. That's going to be the focus now, is just finishing the race. At this point, a great finishing spot will definitely be helpful, but no matter where you're at, you are going to gain ground on the 48. Keith Mayauto being that first driver, 59 points back. Great opportunity here to close that to about 25 to 30 points.
I mean, man, that is just something. What a very interesting turn of events here. And a lot of guys got some penalties. James Barker, he's sitting 3 laps down. Benson Weaver had an issue. I think he had something go wrong. He has a big moment in front of Keith Mayauto, who's hoping and praying for no issues. As there goes Faircloth way up the racetrack, and that's going to cost him some valuable time that he cannot afford to lose as he tries to keep going down. And man, oh man, a lot of wildness. And Faircloth just kind of a sitting duck out here because he's got such old tires, and he's just trying to just kind of get out of the way while trying to still make lap time.
Well, we finally have some more cars on the lead lap. Dennis Faircloth was the only one there for 4 or 5 laps around. Brody Hayes back to, looks like the 77 and Chris Samard now all on the lead lap. The 03 of Noah Mahalski will be the next one in line, but he's got Another lap car between himself and Dennis Faircloth. That's going to be that number 18 on the ticker, Chase Abel.
Oh, whoa!
0.
Whoa, coming in, it's the pit barrels!
He misses it.
Fix that! And he missed pit road, and I think he might have clipped the pit barrels, and he did, because you can see the left front has damage, and that is a shame for Faircloth's strategy. That's going to really, really hurt him, and I hope Faircloth doesn't pull it off the racetrack and call it a day. He might need to be able to get that damage fixed, but heavy, heavy damage to what was the race leader. He'll lose it here. He's still leading this race, but Hayes will come by as now Faircloth limping the car around with heavy damage to the left front and pit road, seeming to be, well, the most dangerous part on the racetrack as the monster has collected a couple cars.
Miles has been hungry tonight, but it's not in the typical fashion that we see here at Dover. As you mentioned, everything that we've seen so far damage-wise was on that initial start, and then subsequently led us to the green flag run that we've had, and everybody's picking up damage on pit road, it seems.
Sure are. Loveland remember he got hit with his teammate Chris Samard, and where is James Loveland? He's sitting ninth, still 13 seconds back of the lead, but it could have been for him. And he's got heavy damage to that car. Front end's pushed in, the rear end definitely pushed in on the left rear. So a lot of mistakes. These are nights that some of these points guys can capitalize on with the Jeff Wright having an issue. You know, got to execute now. It's up to you to execute your pit stops, execute your pit road entry and exit. Get everything you can and just don't make mistakes. And we've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes, including the best driver of the season, currently sitting going to be 15 laps down this next point. I don't think out of this race, but definitely not going to be in the race. Not even close.
Yeah, he's certainly at this point. We've seen 66 laps of green flag racing. I don't really feel like we're going to see a change in that by any means.
Well, we could. And
we very well could.
Yeah, we could. That's for sure. And honestly, how about the pace Chris Samard has from spinning on pit road? He hasn't really left Keith Maiato, who got around him from spinning. So solid pace out of Samard. Osmer solid pace for his little bit older tires here. And we saw Keith Maiato really save his tires that last one. I'm curious if he'll do it again. My guess is he will. But now he's gotten a lot better clean air. Doesn't have to work around so many cars. Can he run down his teammate, Brody Hayes? And if he does, what a night that could be. What a big points night that could be. He could chop Jeff Wright's lead in half.
If you can go from 59, 60 points back to, like you said, right there, halfway, that 30-point mark, that makes these next 3 races look so much more promising, especially if you can come into it with a whole lot of momentum as Maiato goes around the inside here of the 20 of Osmer with ease. I got another lap car right ahead. That's the 3 of Jeremiah Vincent. 1 lap down here.
If you can get around Jeremiah, look at all the clean track ahead of Jeremiah Vincent here. And got some clean air, and it'll really help to save tires. But I think Keith Maiato's got to kind of get around him, get some clean air to the nose, and not worry about the cars. You know, there'd be no car separating. I think Jeremiah's going to, whoa.
Big move there for the 36. I'm not sure what the intent was. If it was to get behind or if it was just coming loose off the corner.
Look at misjudgment. I think Jeremiah was trying to give him the top there, and I think Keith just kind of trying to go to the bottom. Hey, look at that. Jeff Wright coming back out of pit road, but 19 laps down on the racetrack here. And here comes Keith Maiato out of the inside. I think Vincent's going to let him go, but cost him a couple tenths. Not a lot, though. And we'll see. He's got almost 4 seconds, 3.5 seconds up the road to go and get Brody Hayes. And what could be, even no matter what, as long as not too many more cars drop out, this could be a big, big day for Keith Maiato to finish second here. But to win would be even bigger because you do get some bonus points for winning as well.
And bonus points are going to be ever so important here so late in the chase. Keith Maiato might bust out the wallet here for the 37 of Brody Hayes. We'll have to see. Nearly halfway through this race, starting lap 73. Brody Hayes has a big, big lead here, nearly a full straightaway over second place.
We'll see. It's a pretty big lead, and Hayes' lap time is really, really good, but And I will say this, I mean, it's kind of looking like how Kyle Larson looked this week at Homestead, where, you know, we could very well see 4 or 5 cars on the lead lap at his pace he's going, especially still with pit stops to go here. Osmer going way up the racetrack past Chris Margot's by him, but a lot of pace out of Brody Hayes, who's really, really moving. I think can't deny Brody was the fastest car on the racetrack, and it's amazing to me how Brody has yet to win a race this season, and with the way things are going, can't afford to make too many, a mistake that could take him out of winning. Osmer gets into the wall again, but it's crazy to think that this would be Brody Hayes' first win if he can get this job done.
You know, we talk about the point situation for Keith Mayato, but Brody Hayes is sitting in fifth, right, only 65 points back, so he's right there as well.
He very well could, man, that's amazing. Interesting to see, and we'll see how this race continues to play out, because it can flip on its head. One more speeding penalty from Brody Hayes, it could really affect this race, and it can give Keith Mayato that lead. And Ronnie Osmer as well. He's only 2 points behind Keith Mayato, and well, he had a good run as well last week at Watkins Glen. He's only a couple points back, so I'm not sure how much we'll see Keith kind of chop into that points lead, but I'm going to guess at least 20. And I don't know about 30. 30 is going to be a stretch, but it's possible to get 20 or 30. And again, with Atlanta looming large next week, Atlanta, we saw the first super speedway race. You and me, Logan, we broadcasted at Daytona. How many cars finished that race? 9?
Yeah,
so,
I want to say it was certainly less than 10. We had a couple big ones early on. It really just seemed to stretch that race out. But that's super speedway racing for you.
And Atlanta, we need to point out as well, the tire wear will matter a lot more. Aerodynamics matter a lot more at Atlanta than it does at Daytona or Talladega. And I will give you a shout out, Logan. I was pulling for you on Saturday. I thought you could have won that race.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty confident, but it didn't play out in my favor. But we'll keep trucking along and seeing what we can do on those Saturday nights.
That's on Talladega too. Maybe not so bad of a super speedway race yourself here, as Osmer continued to try and hold off here Ray Massey. Man, how about this race clicking off really, really quick? I mean, 80 laps down already, and we're closing up here on 70 laps to go. This race past halfway, and as green flag pit stops have kind of happened, we got another 20 or so more to go until we have probably the next set of green flag pit stops. How about we go to a quick side-by-side commercial break, and we'll be back here in just a couple moments for the live action here in the Icon Apparel 150. So go to a quick commercial break to hear from some of our sponsors, and you won't miss a thing.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the Nurturing Reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.
Welcome back to the racetrack of the Icon Apparel 150. As you saw, a pass for the fourth place, on the racetrack between Ray Massey and Ronnie Osmer. As Massey moves up to fourth, Osmer back down to fifth. There's a lot of wild things that have happened if you're just joining us here tonight for what has been a very wild and crazy race here at Dover, Delaware. Top 5, Brody Hayes, Keith Beato, Chris Simard, Ray Massey, and Ronnie Osmer are sitting 5th and 6th. Noah Mahalski, Dallas Sullivan 7th. Caleb Leakley 8th. And Ryan Phillips in 9th. Last car on the lead lap is Loveland with some damage from pit road is 10th. But, man, wild race we've seen so far here, Logan.
Indeed, we have passes all throughout the field. Biggest mover right now, the 46 of Dallas Sullivan, looking for another spot here on the 03 of Noah Mahalski. Sullivan up 11, looking to make it 12 here. As Mahalski's going to get kept low by the 13 of Jake Mackey here. This should give Sullivan a little bit of an opportunity. Doesn't look like he's going to force the issue much. Coming up on that next cycle of green flag pit stops here in about 10 laps, Alec.
We sure are. You know, a couple guys split it. Most of the field, I would say, split it into thirds. Dennis Faircloth was going to try to do it maybe all the way. Unfortunately, he got into the pit barrels a little bit and gave himself some damage, so that strategy is not going to be out or probably going to be out through the window. I don't expect we're going to see anybody try to go 80 laps on tires, or actually 100 laps on tires. So I think everybody's going to kind of bring it in here in just about 10 to 15, and they'll try to go to the end. Is 60 laps to go? Man, this race really has flown by, hasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly has. Well, this is a long green flag run here. 91 laps going. It's we saw Dennis Faircloth try that long strategy, made it to about 70 laps before he had to bring it down pit road for the first time. So that 100 lap lookout, I would say we could probably assume that nobody's going to try that.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably not going to happen. You know, what are they sitting about? Still a second and a half off of their fastest laps, and you know, Dover doing it does best. I think I don't know. You know, like I said, with this new oval refresh update, it seems like they've really nailed a lot of these new tracks. I know they're updating for the new NASCAR 25 game and stuff, but it seems like Dover, it's taking in the rubber better. We're seeing guys kind of move around a little bit more, and I think my favorite thing that I'm noticing, other than the floating stands, look at the rubber that's getting laid down on the track. I love seeing that, and I love seeing that, you know, like in real life, the track taking in rubber, it gets slower. And I'm starting to see that this track's getting slower as rubber gets put onto this racetrack.
Yeah, you're 100% correct about that. They did a fantastic job with that model in this update. However, like you mentioned, the stands still need a little bit of work. I don't think that people float in real life like that, but I could be wrong.
Who knows what's the new AI, right? But other than that, I mean, dang. A lot of people just floating in the stands. Wouldn't that be something? You know, you have a grandstand. You know, like the see-through glass floors. Imagine if those were the stands. That'd be something, huh?
You know, some of these tracks, their stands are so tall. I think I'd be slightly terrified.
I've heard Dover stands, especially in 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. They're pretty dang high.
And steep as well.
Yeah. You ever been to Dover?
I have not. I've heard the fables of the track, and yeah, it's a workout if you have one of those upper seating areas.
I know Bristol, I've heard, is a scary place. Ooh, Vincent catches the wall. But I've heard Bristol, the steepness of those grandstands. Although what's funny, unlike normal sporting, you know, your football, baseball, basketball, you kind of want to sit low to see the action. NASCAR, you kind of want to sit high. Racing, you want to kind of sit high to see the whole racetrack.
Yeah,
see all the action all over.
That bird's eye view, as if you're sitting in a blimp, is probably the best seat in the house.
Yeah.
Look at this. We've got the 18 of Chase Abel looking to the inside of Jake Mackey across the stripe. Abel gets the position down into 1. He is clear of Jake Mackey, but up ahead, it's a battle between Mahalski and Sullivan. Sullivan looking to claim that 12th spot, door to door into 3 and 4. See who's going to get the drive off. We're so close to this green flag pit stop. I'm rather surprised we're seeing this hard of racing right now.
I don't know. Dallas has really good long run speed and almost squeezed the 03 to the wall. And good pace from the 46. Always solid on strategy and long runs. And right there, gets by, and Dallas Sullivan gets his 12th spot gain and moves up into the 6th place position. Still 4 seconds up the road is Ronnie Osmer, but Dallas, really good pace here. And 3 lap fresher tires, he's lapping, I don't know, 2 or 3 tenths faster than Ronnie, who's sitting fifth. So maybe a possible, top 5 run here for Dallas. And tell you what, man, Keith Maiato touring about 1.5 seconds the last couple of laps. So he's cut that down now to 3 seconds, but he had gotten all the way down into the 2-second range. So Maiato, really good pace. And we'll see here as they get into traffic for Hayes and stuff. And, all these guys are only a straightaway ahead of Brody Hayes. So there's still a long way to go. And here comes Ronnie Osmer to pit road.
Ronnie Osmer is going to be the first one down pit road, it looks like. Possibly the 27. Yeah, okay. The 27 of Ryan Phillips actually beat him down pit road.
Yeah.
Now it looks like Keith Maiato is going to follow suit now. So one of our top 3 drivers, he'll be the first one of them to come down pit road. Brody Hayes, Chris Samard, they're both going to elect to keep turning laps at the moment. Now it looks like Brody Hayes is going to bring it down from the lead here. Will he get it slowed up in time? He does with no problems. Caleb Weekly right in front of him.
Good running, good pace from Brody, man. But see, I think Keith Maiato also brought it in pit road, and that's just to cover him off. He's going to gain about a second and a half here. We'll see how much did Keith really gain, at least in the terms of entering and exiting pit road. But we will have to see here as Maiato exiting pit road. And this pit road, I think we forget to mention, it's 35 miles an hour. It's as fast as the pit roads at Bristol and Martinsville. So here comes Ray Massey into pit road. But this pit road is agonizing to come down when guys are going 170 miles past you. Here's Maiato exiting pit road. Now Hayes exiting his box, but just going to exit pit road now. Maiato coming down the front stretch, still going to be a really, really big lead here for Brody Hayes, as Maiato just didn't have the traffic shakeout here. But nonetheless, Maiato's going to close in at least a second or so, as you'll see Hayes probably exiting down the backstretch right there. And he's actually closed up about a second, more than I thought.
He closed up that entire 3-second gap, Alec. He is all over the back bumper now, the 37. Ray Massey still turning, Ray Massey now in the box.
In the pit road, yeah.
So that's going to hand the lead over to Brody Hayes here. But it's on now.
It is, and we talked about how powerful the undercut is here. Oh man, I almost got into him there, but I think I mentioned it to you earlier. The undercut's so powerful here. 3 seconds gained in a snap of a finger, and he's there. He's to him.
All
now
from
this
just 1 lap sooner.
Yeah. And will we look at this race and think to ourselves, as how about this? Jeff Wright has pulled it into the infield and into the garage, and is done for the day. What big of a night this could be if Keith Maiato could somehow, some way get by Brody Hayes. And no matter what, it's going to be a big point stake. He's going to cut the points lead in half, maybe a little bit less, but almost there. But what a great day this could be for Keith Maiato or Brody Hayes, as Jake Mackey is into pit road from 6th, and he almost had a moment there into turns 3 and 4, and almost killed. Oh, he did hit Max Cost. Max Cost actually has heavy damage to his car.
Is not good for the 63. Was it Max Cost?
I think it was. I mean, you could tell. I think we may get a replay on that, but I think he hit Max Cost, which almost hit Dennis Faircloth, and that was almost a huge wreck. But yes, no, heavy damage to Max Cost after Jake Mackey right here trying to come in. And we'll see right here, he goes very early to pit entry. Kind of loses control with all the marbles down there, comes straight up and into Max Cost right there.
Gotcha. So we've got inside damage on the 63 machine that I couldn't see.
As Massey gets by, Max Cost gets the wall, but gets by, and Massey still solid 1 in 4th here. Osmer pitted 2 laps earlier. He's sitting in 4th, and Chris Smart having a quiet day in 3rd, and now Keith Maiato has just not let Brody Hayes go, and I think this is probably the biggest challenge Brody's had all day, and I don't think he was going to be expecting it. I mean, who could have? Just 3 seconds, and I want to point out, Keith, I want to point out what Keith Maiato did, Logan. Keith was 0.8 of a second faster on pit road, in and out and crew. And he gained that extra 2 seconds from pitting 1 lap earlier. That was the difference. And now he's right on Brody Hayes. This could be a championship turning race and momentum for Keith Maiato going into Atlanta next week when we know anything can happen.
Absolutely. And, we've touched on the points subject a couple times already. Even with the running order right now, if Hayes finishes this race in first, Maiato finishes in second, both of those drivers essentially will cut the lead to half. As Brody Hayes only 65 points back from Jeff Wright. Keith Maiato 59 points back from Jeff Wright. I believe the way the point structure is set up is a couple bonus points for the winner. So obviously, Maiato wants that to go in his favor, but this could make it more of a 3-horse race for the championship.
Not only does he want that, he needs that to really, really hone in. And look at all the traffic ahead of these drivers. Phillips, Loveland, and I think I see Mackey up there too. These aren't going to be easy passes. Can Keith Maiato use Brody Hayes here and use these lappers as a pick? Loveland gets out of the way here, and it's going to, unfortunately, I know it's not going to hurt Maiato. This is going to be a tight battle for the win here with less than 40 to go.
And that is not what you want to see as the leader of the car directly in front of you. It's there and then it's not.
Yeah. That is for sure. And man, this is getting wild here. Can Brody Hayes at least try to hold up and maybe have a shot here? And I'll tell you this, just going off of, I believe, Daytona, Logan, when Justin Carey won, he had 47 spots, 47 points. The 19th place driver had 26 points. So about 21 points can get gained here for Brody Hayes and Jeff Wright. Whoever can win this race, it's most likely going to be between these two, as long as they don't take each other out. And they got to know, as teammates, can't afford to take each other out here. I know it's going for the win, but think of the point stay here. Think of what you can gain in points.
And honestly, if you can keep both of these drivers closer in the points, like I said, with the finishing order of a couple bonus points going in Brody Hayes' favor at the moment, that incentivizes you as teammates to really work together, especially having Atlanta driving like it's a super speedway now. You're going to need to use your team if you want to succeed next week. And that'll just put you ever so closer.
And Atlanta has that new pit road as well. If we do get green flag pit stops, you got to remember that pit road that starts in turn 3 all the way around the inside of the racetrack, then into what will be off of turn 4 where the original pit road is. So Atlanta has a lot of curveballs that I can throw, and plus it's a super speedway, if I forgot to mention that too. So can't forget about that. Dude, that was a moment.
Holy big time into the wall there, right in front of the 3 of Jeremiah Vincent. That was a pass for position there. It was the 10th spot.
Faircloth had to have an issue there. Oh yeah, he got to the inside wall. I'm surprised that wasn't a caution. He almost wrecked it off of 4. No caution came out. And this is getting dicey right here with the traffic and stuff. And Coley almost into the wall as Loveland gets into it, and now Samar trying to navigate through the lap traffic. And I will say this: we are missing Alan Dice. We don't say that much. He normally doesn't miss, but Alan Dice not in the field tonight. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I think we're missing maybe AJ Servato if he were to show up. I'm surprised Adam Cabot can show up. He's usually a Dover guy. Bailey Turner, seen him a couple races show up, and Gemmel might get him hopefully next week. I don't know if he's busy next week, and maybe Mr. V-Speed himself, Adam Baker, could show up at the Super Speedway. We might have one of our best car counts next week at Atlanta, being the Super Speedway that it is. Mackey and Vincent almost making some contact at the front.
Right in front of our 3rd place driver, the 77 of Chris Samard. That's one thing I'm noticing here, Alec. It's a V-Speed 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
It is. I'll
tell you
this for the lead, though. Brody Hayes is starting to gap Maiato a little bit, but Hayes has really had trouble getting around the 7 of Weekly. I think this time Weekly's just going to let him go here. Great move out of Weekly's part there, but now Hayes has some clean air. Maiato, just even with 1 lap older tires, fading back a half a second back now. Can he reel in? Can he save his tires for maybe a charge with 10 to go. Save for 20, get the last 10, and just try to give it his all and see if he can get by Brody Hayes here.
Although he is starting to fade back ever so slightly, we can't ignore the fact that that undercut most certainly worked in his favor. Went from a 3-second gap to right all over the back bumper, and now only a half-second back with a lap car in between. So it's still got potential towards the end of this. We still have 28 laps to go.
He's got to get by Weekly here to at least get no cars separating him in the 37 here. And Weekly did a good job getting out of the way there for Brody, but I hope he showed a little more of the same courtesy for Keith Mayato here. As Mayato's in second, the fight wouldn't be for Mayato here. As there goes Weekly to the outside, kind of let Keith go here. Now no cars separating the top two. As this is an interesting battle here. I don't know if these... Oh, no, these are 2 laps down. Oh, no, this is a good battle. This is for 11th. These two guys both 2 laps down on the racetrack. Top 10, 10th on back is 2+ laps down. So it shows you the pace that Hayes and Mayato have put on here tonight. As Loveland getting by Coley, that moves the 02 up to 11th. And now Jeremiah Vincent just up the road is 10th. Caleb Weekly currently the... free pass the lucky dog if a caution were to come out, but this race has went 125 laps. Green and Phillips is running down Weekly, so interesting to see if we get a caution, who will get the lucky dog there, as the 27 of Phillips is running down the 7 of Weekly. But now the lead has grown to now 6, almost 7/10 of a second, as Hayes turning on the afterburners as the long run continues.
Hayes putting on the pace. We saw Mayato had some decent long run speed here. Again, we still have 25 laps to go, so there's plenty of time for these tires to continue to fall off. And it could be strategy here for the 36 to save some of this tire for the ending laps of the race.
Man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tight to see what happens here. Can Keith Mayato reel him in? Or can, does Brody Hayes make a mistake? We haven't seen really too many mistakes out of him as Max Koss gets put another lap down with his damage that he got there from Jake Mackey. But, he gets more damage here as he gets up on the outside wall. And I think Brody's probably hoping in for no caution. And, I don't know, Keith, like you said, he had better long-run pace, but I don't know if that one-lap difference is going to be enough. And it's one thing to reel him back in, but it's another thing to catch him and pass him. So it's going to be tough for Keith to really find a way around him unless he can, force Brody into a mistake or something. We'll see, though. I mean, coming close to 20 laps to go. It's getting wild. It's getting crazy.
And, of course, you have to take into the factor that they are teammates, so you don't want to put too much pressure on your teammate and force them out of the top 5, even the top 3. So it's going to come down to courtesy, I feel like.
And you got to think, too, your teammates, and think of the points that you guys can both have if you finish first and second. It's not bad, and it's not worth wrecking each other over, I would say. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens here because, they're, like you said, they're both teammates. I just don't think they're going to race each other over excessively. So we'll see. But I just think Keith's going to be smart about it. They're both really smart drivers, and I just don't think they're going to go stepping over any boundaries to, really, put themselves in a position to wreck each other.
Yeah. One thing I'm kind of looking at here, too, with the point standings, Chris Samard is also up there in the top 5 for points. So all 3 of these drivers are potentially going to close that gap up quite a bit to our leader. This top 5 race for the championship could get a whole lot more heated in the next 3 races.
And 20 really laps to
go now.
And it really can, especially if, Atlanta does Atlanta, and if Jeff Wright gets taken out in Atlanta and these guys can finish, then we for sure have a race on our hands going into Bristol and into Auto Club. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see how these races will play out, and we're going to have to see how much does the points change, because that can really, really change.
But most importantly right now, Alec, it's coming down to who's going to get their first win of the season. It's Brody Hayes in the lead right now. Keith Mayato has 3 on the season, sitting in second. Chris Samard, he's right there in the top 3, so the potential is there to see the 77 in that winner's circle. He has a whole lot of track to get through. 5 seconds back there in third. 4 seconds ahead of fourth place. That's the 23 of Ray Massey. So it's, you know, does Demard really try to push the issue here and try to make up that ground, or at the end of the race just focus on keeping that podium spot here?
You know, it's tough to say. You know, man, you just never know in what can happen as, you know, time, as these laps keep clicking off. But looking at what I'm seeing, Brody's just about a tenth or so faster than Keith here, and I think that gap's going to keep outstretching here as we know how good Brody's been. Ooh, almost a little contact there between Coley and Loveland. It's a battle for position, so we'll see. And Brody now, I think, is going to be afraid, no caution here. And still a little bit of traffic ahead of Brody, but he's not going to get to this. I think Benson Weaver, and then there's about a couple second gap until the next lap car. But whew, wild and crazy between these two, and coming now 15 laps to go. Brody Hayes looking for his, I can't even believe to say this, but his first win of the season here at Dover.
Yeah, that'd be just icing on the cake for the 37 team. Take home the first win at such a treacherous track. Able to tame Miles the Monster. We'll see how it goes here through the rest, as this time by will be 14 to go in the Icon Apparel 150.
It'll be a dominant win at that if he can close the deal here, and it'll be good momentum going into the, you know, the truck he works on this weekend with Rajah Caruth in the 71. Good weekend going, or good momentum going into Martinsville weekend here, but still got to close the deal out here tonight as he's led 79 laps and just, I don't think he's going to eclipse the 80 lap mark, but still going to be the most laps led by a very far wide margin.
Brody Hayes does hit that 80 lap mark, and I think you're meaning to say maybe that 90 lap mark there. But
90 lap, yeah,
with what we have left, if he continues to hold the lead here, we should see Brody Hayes finish out with 92 laps led on the night. Well over half of the race.
Yeah, now we've got clean air and really no traffic ahead. You can see there's one car a little bit up ahead, and I think that's Noah Mahalski, who we've seen him have a little trouble with, but I don't think he's going to reel him in time. And you know, how about we go on board with Brody Hayes just to see what he's doing. His tires worn out, and you know, I don't know about you, Logan, but in your thoughts, have you ever wanted a tighter car here or a looser car at Dover?
You know, it all depends on what the temperature's like, really. If it's going to be a cold track, I would like it a little bit looser. You know, you can get the drive off of the corner that you want and not chew up the tires too terribly bad. If it's a nice hot track, which it's not really, still right underneath that 100-degree mark, I believe. So it's a hot track. I would say I would want it a little bit tighter.
Okay, that's fair. I love these things wrecking loose, personally. I know the Xfinity car doesn't always get loose. I know the Cup car, man, here, this Cup car can be a handful. But I think the one thing I've always loved about Dover is it's so, you got to just save your tires, man. Keep the tires under, you can really get some pace going. Long run, especially when you get long runs. And I've always noticed, at least in BTDY, long runs are always a thing, but even in just regular races here at Dover, Dover tends to go pretty long and pretty green, so... one thing I've always appreciated about Dover, and you know, this track is really fun. I really think it's underrated, and you know, it's fast and it's quick. I mean, we've only been on, you know, we started about an hour ago, and this race is flown by us, and a caution-free race that's going to go most likely green to the end. And I shouldn't say that yet because we saw what happened in Iowa, but this is you know, a great race for Brody Hayes, and you know. It's amazing how he hasn't won this season, but we saw Watkins Glen, him half the speed. New Hampshire, he was the best car, got taken out, and man, just great running and a great race there for Brody Hayes, and looking to finally get that win that I believe he's deserved so much, and done such a good job.
Absolutely. It's been a very consistent season for the 37. Otherwise, he would not be in the top 5 of the point standings. And looking to cap it off here so late in the chase for the Cup. This is the cherry on top for the 37. Well deserved, like you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, great job for him. And 6 to go. I will say, though, he is running down this traffic ahead of him. And how about this? Dallas Sullivan looking for a top 5 run here tonight. He is trying to catch the back bumper of that blue number 20. Ronnie Osmer, he's got the lap car. Jeremiah Vincent in the middle of them. But solid run for Dallas Sullivan, running in the top. He's been on the lead lap all race, running possibly in the top 5 here. And a great run going for him. Can't he get by Ronnie Osmer with 5 to go as Hayes clicks up on the board. Lap 146, starting 5 to go.
Sullivan last time by 0.2 faster than Ronnie Osmer. While dealing with some of that stretch here, look to make a move into turn number 3. We'll keep an eye on the 46 as you go to the inside. Osmer shuts the door.
He does, and Osmer trying to hold on, get some valuable points to gain on Jeff Wright as he sits third, but Dallas Sullivan trying to get a top 5, and he's for sure locked up the biggest mover. And Brody Hayes saying, boys, keep this clean here, because he's going to come and click off. 2 laps to go. Sullivan on the bottom. Osmer fighting back outside. Rolls around him once again, and they'll have to do it all over again here as Brody Hayes has a lap and a half to go for what will be his first win of the season. This battle really great here off of turn number 4, and they've got now 2 to go. As off of 4, white flag in the air, 1 more lap to go for Brody Hayes in what has been a dominant win, or dominant fashion, a dominant race for the 37 team, and what has been a season of oh so close so many times as Sullivan back down to the inside of Osmer, but a half a lap to go, and tonight a dominant performance. He's tamed the monster, and for the first time this season, Brody Hayes will finally get the monkey off of his back. He'll cut into the points lead, and he does it by winning at the Monster Mile. Brody Hayes wins the Icon Apparel 150, Mayato second, then Samar going to come home third, Ray Massey going to come home fourth, and that battle for what will be 5th on the racetrack, Dallas Sullivan able to get by Ronnie Osmer, and Sullivan gets a top 5. Osmer comes home 6th, and Noah Mahalski is a come home 7th, the last car on the lead lap. Caleb Weekly was 8th. Ryan Phillips gets his first top 10 in 9th. And how about Chase Abel in his first career start in 10th? And the monster has been tamed by this man right here, Brody Hayes, finally getting that first win. 93 laps led in a dominant fashion. He does just that, and he will burn it down on the front stretch in what has been a win coming for so long. How about this? 2 seasons it's been since he's won, and he finally does it.
You know, and winning here on Tuesday nights with BTDY is no easy feat by any means. The competition here is fierce. So that 2-season stretch of no wins for the 37, this one has to feel good, Alec.
It has to, and man, what a dominant win, what a great performance from Brody Hayes, and he did such a phenomenal job here tonight. Well, we'll be right back after a quick commercial break to talk to the winner, Brody Hayes, in the top 3 of Keith Mayato, Chris Samard. So stick around for post-race interviews, and we'll be right back.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the Nurturing Reader at New Jersey Street Fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.
And welcome back to the Monster Mile. After the conclusion of the Icon Apparel 150, go to our finishing results here tonight for what was a caution-free race. Brody Hayes started 7th and dominated the race, leading 93 laps and en route to his first win of the season. Keith Mayato, 2 seconds back, was 2nd. Then Chris Samard, 3rd. Ray Massey, 4th. Dallas Sullivan was 5th. Ronnie Osmer was 6th. 7th was Noah Mahalski, with 8th being Caleb Weekly, the first car lap down. Then Ryan Phillips was 9th. And how about the rookie Chase Abel in his first ever start in 10th?
Behind our top 10, we've got the number 3 of Jeremiah Vincent, followed up by the 02 of James Loveland. 65 of Jace Cully takes up the 13th spot. The 13 of Jake Mackey takes 14th. Benson Weaver in the 01 will take the 15th spot. Another league rookie here tonight, James Barker in the 28 will take 16th. Max Koss falls back to the 17th spot on the night, followed up by Dennis Faircloth in the 80. Jeff Wright, our points leader, not the night he was looking to have with an early exit. 48 finishes 19th. Last but not least, as we saw, big damage for the 55. Very early exit on the night, finishing in 20th.
It's going to be very interesting to see what the point standings will look like after this race, with the real first big mistake that Jeff Wright has made all season. And, well, we'll move up into our post-race interview. We'll move in our third-place finisher, Chris Samard. Logan, I believe you're standing with him.
Yeah, we've got Chris Samard up here in the VSPEED booth now, driver of the 77, the first one on the podium here for Team VSPEED, sweeping the podium. Chris Samard, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it wasn't quite the race that we anticipated, but it came out in your favor. Started out here in 9th, finishing up in 3rd, the 6 positions gained. What were you thinking as you were coming around for those final 50 laps? You had a little bit of a gap here. You started to extend that over Ray Massey. Never could quite catch up to your teammates, but ultimately a 3rd place finish you got to be happy with.
Yeah, I'm happy with the 3rd place. I think that's kind of where I was there speed-wise, 4th, 5th, 3rd, right around there. And I couldn't really catch up to Brody or Keith. They were just kind of the class of the field there after Jeff had his pit road issue there. So
you came into this race sitting 4th in points, 64 points back. You're going to cut into that exponentially here tonight with 3 races left. We've got Atlanta coming up next week. That's going to race a lot like a super speedway. Then Bristol follows that. So what are we looking at for the 77 here in the coming weeks?
Well, just continue my streak of good finishes, and who knows, the top guys can get into each other, and I could squeak out a win here or there. I don't know. We'll see. I'd never thought that Jeff would have a issue. He was running so good. But yeah, last week I told you guys I didn't think he would have to have a really bad race for us to get into it, and I didn't want to jinx him, but I guess I did. So.
Well, accidents do happen, and you are known for saying sorry for any of them, even if you're not involved. But Chris, is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to for your 3rd place finish here tonight?
First off, I would like to apologize to James, my teammate. I ran into the back of him in pit road, and I was going too fast and locked him up, and I screwed up his race. I feel horrible for that. We probably could have finished 1, 2, 3, 4 if I didn't screw up his race. But yeah, I'd just like to thank all my teammates. Thinking about Seth, my wife and son, and you guys up in the booth. Like I said, I love going back and watching these races. They're awesome. So.
Well, we try our best. A little bit of technical difficulties to start this one, but we'll get that rectified on the back end of things. Chris Samard, congratulations on 3rd place and gaining some position here in the standings going into the last 3 races. We will see you next week at Atlanta, buddy.
Thanks, fellas. Anything's possible with this championship. I didn't think it was going to be that way, but we'll see.
Absolutely. This top 5 getting closer and closer as we click off races. But that'll be it for our 3rd place finisher, Chris Samard.
Thanks, fellas.
We'll get right down the road here. Looking for our second place finisher, Keith Mayato. We'll catch up with him here. There he is, the 36, Keith Mayato. You got a copy, buddy?
10-4.
Well, man, a fantastic race for you. We saw you up front pretty well the entire night. What more did you need to get ahead of your teammate Brody Hayes to take home a win and close that points gap up a little bit more for yourself?
Well, I was telling Brody, if I didn't, pound the wall on the first stint and have my two teammates right in front of me on pit entry, it'd probably be a lot closer battle for the win. But all in all, it's a good finish after the last couple weeks. So I'm glad to finish P2 again.
Absolutely. And we saw you take the undercut strategy here on the second pit cycle. You got them by 1 lap. You came into the pits with roughly a 3-second gap to Brody Hayes. Then you came out of the pits all over the back bumper immediately on the backstretch. Was there anything differently that you feel like you could have done there? Or were you pretty happy with how that cycle went for you?
I was hoping I should have been a little more aggressive to pass them early on because the cars were pretty loose on the first lap, and I had my chance, and he kind of shut the door on me, so I had to lift on that chance there. But I don't know. I think I got a little overconfident with my pace on the long run that I was willing to take that undercut, and in the long run, it paid off because I gained a second on him after a full run, but it wasn't enough to stay in front of him for the win.
Last question here for you, Keith. We've noticed up here in the booth where you can visibly see the rubber being laid down, especially through the corners. You see those dark spots on the low line start to form up about 40, 50 laps into the race. Now, with this remodel here of Dover, how did that feel handling this Xfinity car?
I think a lot of guys use the high side, if it looked like from my point of view. So I ran low pretty much 3 and 4 the whole time, and I felt it was to my advantage just because guys were running up there and the car was a little freer down there too if you didn't overdrive corner entry. So all in all, I think it worked out pretty good because I haven't seen a multi-groove Dover race in quite some time, so it was nice to see that guys were using at least 2 grooves. It wasn't good enough for 3, but at least 2 grooves were raceable, which was a pleasant change.
Absolutely. 150 green flag laps here at Dover at that. So just a fantastic race all in all. Keith Mayato, second place on the night. He didn't move anywhere. Started second, finished second. Anybody you'd like to say thanks to?
Yeah, thanks for Icon Apparel sponsoring the race tonight. Yourself and Alec, doing an awesome job in the broadcast. My teammates for doing an awesome job finishing top 3. Probably could have had top 4 if, taking a shot at Chris here for wrecking James on pit entry, but all in all, good night for all of us.
Oh, don't worry. Chris already took a shot at himself for that one, so we'll just nail that one into the coffin there. But congratulations, Keith Mayato. Get out of here. Go celebrate with your team on this podium sweep for VSPEED.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
You too, buddy.
Everyone, Keith.
Thank you.
And that's Keith Mayato.
Yeah, that just leaves us with one more who, Alec, I believe you're standing by with our race winner now, Brody Hayes.
He'll go down to victory lane. Brody Hayes, Alec and Logan, the VC booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, finally, you got that win. You got that monkey off your back. Dominating fashion there, brother. How does it finally feel to get that first win of the season?
Man, it is due to come. I hate it had to come this late in the season, but it was fun. I didn't expect to run that well at Dover, but yeah, I got a lot of confidence when I drove from 7th to the lead there in that first stint and passed Jeff. Anytime you can do that, that's a pretty big confidence booster. But no, it was good. It's fun racing with Keith there to try and keep the lead. But overall, it's great to have a league where you can run 150 laps green at Dover and have green flag pit stops and all that, and get away with no serious wrecks or enough to bring out a caution. So, but yeah, it's nice to finally get that W.
For sure. And now next week, the points have really closed up with Jeff finishing 19th. You and Keith running first and second here. Next week, the biggest wild card of the season that we go to
if I remember correctly, last year it was pretty wild. The car was, I think it was kind of loose, and you kind of had to save your tires. So, and it was pretty fun. I'm hoping it's something like that, but it's Atlanta. Um, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be tight pack racing. I think track position is gonna be key. You're gonna want to be up front. You're gonna want to fight hard to stay up front. But um, you're gonna have to stay out of trouble to have any chance at Jeff at the end of the year. But I think we have as good a chance as anybody at Atlanta to pull off another win and hopefully close that gap up. But so we'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Well, it's good momentum here into the next couple of weeks, and Atlanta will have that new pit road as well, or the pit road that was originally there. Update on iRacing. But again, congratulations, Brody. Is anybody you want to give a shout out to before we, I guess, let you go to Martinsville and then back next week here at Atlanta?
Yeah, I'll give you guys in the booth as always. Appreciate it. It'll be fun one to go back and watch. All our partners, everybody that puts on BTDY, all the admins for doing this. Shout out to Seth. I'm glad it's his favorite racetrack or one of his favorite racetracks. So I'm glad I could get the win for him here. I hope he's doing all right and is continuing his recovery. Our buddy Ryan Gemmel is a little sore as of late, so wishing him the best in a speedy recovery. Get him back out here and get me back in the spotter stand, spotting him at ARCA races. So, and yeah, we'll go to Martinsville and try and win us a clock, and then I'll be back here on Tuesday.
Absolutely. Hey, well, we appreciate your time. Wish you the best of luck, and Raja, the best of luck at Martinsville, and then we'll obviously see you back here next week at Atlanta next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate your time, Brody. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
And that's Brody Hayes, your winner tonight after what was a wild Icon Apparel 150 here at the Monster Mile. Next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll head down to Atlanta, the Peach State, and what will be a wild and crazy race. Will it be in the daytime? Who knows? Or will it be in under the lights with the new Atlanta Motor Speedway nighttime features? But there it is, the Super Speedway, a hybrid between a mile and a half, Daytona-style bankings in the corners. It's going to be a wild one next week, Logan.
It absolutely is, Alec. I'm really looking forward to it. Atlanta used to put on some really good racing, but now with the Super Speedway style it's going to be even more hectic than ever. So stick around for that. Be sure to tune in next week. It's going to be a hot one.
It sure will be. It's going to be a fun race, but we appreciate all of you watching. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but we got it figured out. Hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage, and thank you to all the sponsors here at BTDY and all the people that allowed us to happen. For everybody a part of VSPEED, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Eddie Smith, Logan, my co-producer, my co-commentator, and everybody from myself, Alec Martinez. Appreciate you, all of you guys watching. Thank you guys for all the continuous support. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Turn on the notification bell, and you'll be able to see all the great racing coverage that is brought to you by VSPEED here on YouTube. But until then, next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, it'll be the Affinity for Gaming 125 next week. Or excuse me, it'll be the Affinity for Gaming, or VSPEED 180 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Super Speedway style racing and the biggest wild card of the season. Until then, have a great week, great weekend, and we'll see you next Tuesday from the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Sailor Tarot Magic is the spot to get a reading from Sally, an intuitive healer and tarot reader. Known as the nurturing reader at New Jersey street fairs, you can also check out our YouTube channel for lunar and astro readings, as well as our Instagram for live weekly readings. Her rates are affordable, and you will leave with a newfound perspective. Sally is now offering an introductory class on tarot cards and intuition, and is available for parties. Call or text 732-314-0777 to schedule your reading today.